Details you'd notice if you watch Captain America: Civil War in slow motion. Just like every other MCU movie, Captain America: Civil War was layered with a bunch of details. We just have to slow the film down to fully appreciate the quality of it. So here are the details that we found out by slowing the movie down. Homecoming and Fright Car. In the beginning, we heard Bucky's trigger words, which included 17, Homecoming, and Fright Car. Now 17 and Homecoming could be taken as a nod to Spider-Man Homecoming, which came out in 2017. But Fright Car was actually a callback to Captain America: The First Avenger, where Bucky fell off of a fright car. Wanda. We've already seen how Wanda almost took down Thanos all by herself. While people rate her as one of the strongest, they don't really think of her as one of the smartest fighters. But that's what she is. When she stopped Vision in the Avengers facility, she actually did it by making his body denser. She took control of the Mind Stone and made Vision so heavy that the floor just couldn't take his weight. Another fun detail regarding Wanda is seen in her room, where we see images of younger Pietro. And in the first fight of Civil War, when she was extracting the deadly gas out of the building, she was also maintaining a force field behind her so that the bullets don't hit her in the back. Monkey. When Cap was looking at the news in his room, we see his circus monkey drawing in the back. This was the same monkey that he drew back in Captain America: The First Avenger. So it's a cool nod. Casualties. When Secretary Ross showed up at the Avengers compound to introduce the Sokovia Accords, he showed the Avengers a slideshow of the collateral damage that they had caused. Watching the film in slow-mo, we were able to notice that 74 civilians died when the Avengers fought in New York. 23 died in Washington, D.C., 177 in Sokovia, and 26 in Lagos. In total, 300 people lost their lives, even though the Avengers managed to save billions of lives with their actions. Infinity War setup. If you look at the seating arrangement of the Avengers here, you could notice a strange Infinity War setup. On the right are Wanda, Sam, and Vision, who died by the end of Infinity War. On the left are Steve, Rhodey, and Natasha, who survived the snap. In the back is Tony, who was away from the Avengers as he was on Titan when Thanos snapped. Old Steve. At Peggy's funeral, Steve was among the ones lifting her casket. But there was another old man there, and he is actually believed to be none other than old Steve Rogers from Endgame. Endgame writers have agreed to this old Steve theory, even though the directors had a different theory altogether. Move. At the funeral, Sharon Carter recited Peggy's notion about not moving when the world forces you to move. Then throughout the film, we noticed that Cap planted himself like a tree and stood tall when Black Panther and Iron Man asked him to move.
Move, Captain. I won't ask a second time.
It wasn't him, Tony. Hydra had control of his mind. Move! It wasn't him!
Since Sam will be the new Cap now, this quality even runs within him.
Can you move your seat up? No.
Rhodey Ultron. When War Machine lands to arrest Bucky and Steve Rogers, we noticed a bunch of Ultron bots painted on his armor. These were the number of bots that he destroyed in Age of Ultron. D23. There was a D and a 23 written on the outside of the cell in which Bucky was held. This was a direct nod to Disney's D23 Expo, where this particular scene was shown. Also, 1923 was the year when Disney was founded, so it was a nod to that as well. The net. During the airport battle, right when Sam attacked Tony with the Red Wing drone, Tony was actually going to trap him in a net which could be seen in slow motion. Brooklyn. Cap asked Spidey about where he was from, and he replied Queens. Cap then smiled and said that he was from Brooklyn.
You got hard, kid. Where you from?
Queens?
Brooklyn.
He smiled because it reminded him of a similar conversation he had with Dr. Erskine back in the 40s.
So where is the little guy from?
Actually, Brooklyn.
throw it
Ant-Man.
at this.
Ant-Man's suit got some major upgrades in Civil War. In his first movie, his mask was a two-piece component, but in Civil War, it was a whole piece which came out. Also, because Ant-Man slipped through the gaps in the Mark 46 suit, Tony upgraded it into a gapless Mark 50 suit in Avengers Infinity War. Bucky and his plums. Before it all went to shit for Bucky, he just wanted to get some plums. He was picking them up because eating plums actually helps people who have Alzheimer's disease. So he was trying to remember his old life before he became Hydra's assassin. But another important detail hidden in this scene was that Bucky was picking up the plums that were ripe to eat. So this tells us that there's enough sensation in his metal arm as it is calibrated with the nerves in his body. This means that Bucky's metal arm is also a part of his body. That's why it must have hurt a whole lot when Tony shot his arm. And that's also why Bucky's arm was dusted with him, but his gun fell on the ground in Infinity War. Tony's HUD. When Cap and Tony fought each other towards the end, we saw a bunch of details in Tony's heads-up display. First, he was able to analyze Cap's fight pattern and come up with countermeasures to kick his ass.
Countermeasures ready.
Let's kick his ass.
But we noticed that this technology might actually be used by Taskmaster in Black Widow, as he had a HUD in his helmet as well. The second detail that we noticed in Tony's HUD was that he was actually able to see Captain America through his shield. Now that's some amazing piece of technology. Cap went for the head. After reciting his catchphrase, Cap pinned Tony down and wrecked his helmet. He didn't do that because he wanted to kill Tony, but he did it as a move of mercy. His main goal was to break down the arc reactor. So he broke Tony's helmet in order to let him breathe after his suit shuts down. It was just like Tony removed Rhodey's mask to allow him to breathe. Some of these details were pointed out by the Canadian lad who did an awesome job on his Civil War video. But apart from those, we've added some new details that we picked up as well. So we hope that you enjoyed the video and were able to learn something new.